Welcome. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at how to style fonts. Without a doubt, this is one of the most widely used properties when it comes to style sheets. For the most part, even if you do nothing else, you will typically style your fonts. So let's go ahead and take a look at what your options or what the properties are within font. So we can style the font family, that's the specific font that we will use, the size of that font, the style, whether we're using italics or normal. The variant, we can do small caps. That's where everything is capitalized, but the first letter of each word is bigger than the rest. You can also do a varying numbers of weights on your font, from very, very thick font to something that's quite thin. So let's go ahead and look at a practical example. I've written beforehand a couple of paragraphs that we can use. Let's go ahead and do it one at a time. So this is just a bit of Latin to keep us focused and not distract us from what we're doing. We add the paragraph tag here, beginning and end, and then we will repeat this paragraph a couple of times so we can create a couple of different styles and apply them to our paragraphs. So if we reload the page here, we can see that we have two different paragraphs with no styling whatsoever. So let's go ahead and create a style, and I've created a couple of these beforehand. As you can see here, I have on my first one, for my font family, I have Courier New. This is typically the very minimalistic, the one you will often see associated with source code type of font. Then we have 1.5, the default size. And this one maps to the parent. If there are no styles defined in the page, it just uses 1.5 of the base default within the browser. Then we have, for font style, we're using normal. That means the default. The font variant is going to be small caps. I mentioned that previously. And then for the font weight, we're going to leave it at normal. We're not going to change it. So we're now going to add a second style. Let's go ahead and put it below here. And you can see here that in this case I'm using Verdana as my font, same size as the previous one, italic for style, and the last two properties are normal. So let's go ahead and add our link, where we will link to the style sheet. We use our rel of style sheet, and then our href of font.css, which is what I called this file. You can see it here on the tab, font.css. So I'm going to go ahead and save it, and now if I reload the page, there's no change because we have not applied the styles. So let's go ahead and add our classes, and we can enter here style 1, and let's copy this to the paragraph below. And in this case, it will be style 2, right? So let's go ahead and go back to our fonts table, reload this page, and see what that looks like. And you can see there two very distinct styles. The top one is Courier New, the bottom one is Verdana, and you can see the different properties here. This one has small caps, the other one doesn't. So let's go ahead and do a quick change just to see how this would look. Let's go ahead and apply. Even if we did just that, both of them will be Courier. They do look different because this one is using small caps, this one is not. So if we put in Verdana top, that should look Verdana, different than the second paragraph looked before. And yes, you can see that there. So let's go ahead and play with a few variants. One of the first things you typically want to do is you want to increase the size or minimize or or decrease the size. Let's go ahead and do something really large just simply to see the impact. And yes, you can see there we can't really see anything. The second one hasn't changed. Let's go ahead and put it back to what it was. We can do the second one and increase that. Let's do something like 4.5 so it's more noticeable. And yes, you can see there that this font is much bigger. Let's go back to the original, and we can do other variants as well. We can use very heavy bold for this one. Let's go ahead and use bold Well, that's not heavy, that's just standard bold. But we can go heavier. We can do bolder. And you can't really tell with this font. Let's go ahead and apply that to Verdana. And we should be able to see much heavier font. Yes, you can see it there. You can also specify a number of values from 100 to 900, increasing by 100 on each, from very thin, let's go ahead and do 100, from very light I should say, to something very heavy. Let's go ahead and use 900 here. And yes, you can see that's pretty heavy. There's some limit at which you don't really see much of a change. But these are some of the common changes that you will make. These are some of the common styles. One of the first things you typically apply to your text, and you can see here what those properties are. Go ahead and create a style sheet of your own. Go ahead and create some HTML that you can apply those styles to, and play with these variants. So go ahead and have some fun and enjoy yourself while you're doing it. So with that, I'll go ahead and close and say goodbye.